It's the Good Slate Late Show, starring your guest host, Bobby D.
Hi, welcome to the Good Slate Late Show. I'm your guest host today, Bobby D. Cerise. Graham is out sick. Today we have Mike Yahn.
Here's the count. In 3, 2, 1, go!
Come on in, Mike. If you don't know Mike, you will soon.
I do,
All
man.
right. So we did this once already.
Yep.
Now we're going to do it again.
Love it.
What brings you to Atlanta?
So I'm really just here to say hi to friends, see what's happening in town, shake some trees, see if there was anything to hustle, which unfortunately right now there's not much.
No low-hanging fruit?
No low-hanging fruit, nothing I can weasel my way into right now.
Even if you climb the tree, there's no fruit.
It's a tough time for the industry. We're all kind of trying to figure this thing out.
And you and the family are dealing with that okay?
We're dealing with that okay. I mean, I get to spend more time with my kids, which is good-ish. Kids are fun, tough, fun.
All right, sweet. What brings you to Diamond and Good Slate?
So, Diamond specifically, our friend Hutch, who I think was on this before,
Yes,
right?
we did have him on we did a series on the Bondsman because most of the stunt performers got acting bits. So it was a great time to have people in and talk about like, hey, you had like 2 weeks of acting and then you got to do your own stunts. It was a very Jackie Chan moment for everybody.
Oh, right on. Yeah, no, Hutch is one of my oldest friends. Love the guy.
You don't have any older friends?
Than Hutch?
He's like 49. I'm just kidding.
Sorry, Hutch. He made the joke.
He knows.
I know. I'm feeling it these days. I looked in the mirror. I was like, how did my beard get this gray?
Yes.
It's wild. Just blink and it happens, I guess.
So saying hello to friends.
Saying hello to friends. And then Hutch was talking up Diamond specifically and Rory, what he's been doing and how he's doing it right, like really teaching the students, investing time in them, and that he had such a great time teaching. I was like, you should reach out to Rory if you're coming up here and teach a workshop.
Nice.
I talked you up.
Yeah.
Go do some Wing Chun.
So what were the workshops that you did?
So the first one I did, the big one, was for film fighting, a performance-based class. Okay. So instead of making it technique-based or just like here's some choreography.
The moments you need, the acting.
Yeah, it was all the acting. It was all the acting exercises and the performance techniques that have grounded my own work. Like I got my start as an actor years ago, back in.
And you did theater also, right?
I got my degree in theater. Yeah, so I went to.
How many degrees?
Bachelor's. I'm a black belt.
Well, and you know my wife Maya.
Yes.
Right. So there's a very funny story just to sidebar. Right. Was when we first started dating, I went to her with a mock girlfriend application. And I was like, if we're going to date, do you own or rent? Do you have your own car? Highest level education. And it only had bachelor's and associates on there. And she goes, I have a master's.
I was going to say, she kept dating you.
I was like, crumble, crumble, crumble. And I threw it away. I was like, you win. But in theater, same thing. I
got carded on my first date.
Yeah.
I met my wife and she looked at me. I got clean shaven. I wanted to look nice. And I have a baby face. So like she met me like scruffy.
How long ago was this?
15, 16 years ago.
I'm not seeing the baby face.
No, right now it's hidden behind a giant graying bush.
Yeah, no, yeah. So you taught the performance. Was that like a 4-hour seminar or something?
About 4 hours. Starting with like doing like a basic fight. That just something to get their bodies moving, see how they move a baseline, and then doing a bunch of acting exercises, just in pain and breath work, and trying to find the moment-to-moment work within just that devoid of technique.
Okay.
And then taking that and bringing it back into that baseline fight and seeing how it changes,
and
how
it
improves things. Great. It always feels like a weird risk as a teacher doing like these exercises and think in my head, and I've seen it before, this will succeed and they will be better at the end of this.
Yeah.
but you roll the dice and you're like,
Do you
maybe I
teach
screwed this
this?
one up.
Do you teach this back home?
No, I haven't really taught these acting techniques and these performance-based games in about 12 years. Not since I really moved to New
Wow.
Orleans.
So it was a treat for these
Treat for them. It was a treat
students.
for me. I mean, this is something I've been
Nice.
thinking a lot about. Like, I wish I had the time on set to, like, you know, play performance games with the actors. I don't have
Yeah.
time. I can do the choreography. I can coach them. I can work with, and they're great actors usually, anyways. So it's not a ton of work I'm doing. It's more like just coaching and breath work with them. And then with stunt performers, I don't have the time at all, and you know you're getting what you get with, you know, depending what their background is, and you make it work. So just having the opportunity to do what, like, frankly, was like my into this business, which is my ability to perform a fight or perform acts of violence, any moments of violence, and act to that.
Yeah.
As well as you correct your thing.
Well, and you coming from acting, not to say that you have a leg up, but what we have a phrase, and I don't know if it's an industry phrase or if it's just a sort of a good slate phrase, is the stunt zoomies. Very much like the dogs when they around the yard, right? The stunt zoomies are, okay, in this, you're going to get kicked in the chest, you're going to hit the wall, I need you to hit the ground, I need you to wince, look up, muster that up, and then go. And you go, action, and they go, boom, 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 and they're out. And you go, wow, he's got the zoomies. Like, as soon as you go action, everybody's going. So
well, that was what was great about yesterday.
Very helpful for people to, like, take the time, like, learn that you need to take the moment and act.
Well, and that was the success of the workshop in some ways. Like I said, it's always a gamble. Like, I might fail. It might be worse at the end of the workshop. I don't know. But I think it's going to work again. And yeah, you see the stunt zoomies, if you will, at the beginning. It's like they're all over the place, and like, oh yeah, it's sloppy because they're trying to perform for me, and everything is just going at the beginning. And then just by really getting into some of the theory and technique on just breath work and acting pain, specifically, I was using a game I learned years ago from J. David Brimmer, a fight master out of New York, does Broadway, off-Broadway, teaches at NYU
that was from your theater days.
Yeah, that was from when I was still in theater, and I was his assistant for years afterwards. So I did that game so many times. I led it so many times in New York, in the theater world, for aspiring actors. So
did you get a good response from them?
It was what I was going to say was, by the end of the class, like, you know, doing the same fight, and it wasn't a good piece of choreography I gave them. That wasn't the point. But by doing it again with trying to layer in all the breath work and the intention and going for it and feeling safer, because the technique is just safe. The technique's what keeps us safe. But doing safe technique isn't telling the story. Right? It just looks like people are being safe and nice to each other. And, oh, cool. Guess he studied in, like, China and did some wushu at some point. Wee spun. Like, that's not telling the story we're always trying to tell in film anyways. So by the end of the class, their techniques were actually cleaner because there was more intention behind them. They wanted to fucking hit the guy. Right? Even if the technique was out of distance. But by doing that, it's a cleaner line, right? The breath work now starts elongating the moments so you can move fast, but there's actually more time in some ways between the moments.
So you were getting better performances by the end of the class.
Light years
That's awesome.
better.
Now, I know that you did a Q&A after that.
It's all a blur, but sure, I believe you.
Right? And so within that Q&A, just that'll kind of bring us to where I want to backtrack a little bit and talk about how you got into the industry. You said you came from, you know, acting in theater.
I did, but I wouldn't consider myself an actor. Like, I've never worked professionally as an actor.
If you're a stunt person, you're an actor. You have to be.
If there's a performance, I mean, I'm sure someone is gonna from somewhere else will say, like, well, actually, you are an actor and everything you're doing acting. No, actors are something else. Like, there's gonna be a fight there. For myself, and I think it has to do partially with the time when I was brought into stunts and attitudes at that time, where it was a very hard line of, like, you're either an actor or you're stunts. Like, I recall that being told to me many times. Like, you have to choose one.
But so, yes, but
I'm not saying it's the right answer.
Well,
but,
so within that, this is the way it's kind of a yin yang thing, right? Where on one side it's a little bit of acting and a lot of stunts, and the other side it's a lot of bit of acting and a little bit of stunts, right? And I think what they mean is when you choose sides, like, but it's all encompassing.
It is all encompassing. We're all performing, and I mean, one of the things I love about stunts is, in a lot of ways, it's the purest form of acting. Right. I'm not usually dealing with, I mean, sometimes, because I can do dialogue, right? And I can have a scene and then get into the fight. But one of my old acting teachers in college, like, she would get so upset with us when we were indicating, right? Like, there's like a bottle of water here. I'm like, picking up the bottle of water. to drink it. Like, it's not just like, just grab the damn thing. She would, like, in the middle of a scene work or something, we'd be doing, just fucking grab the ball of water and start yelling at us. Just do it. Just fucking do it. But that is acting, though. It's just accomplishing the goal. And all the circumstances and events, character stuff, that's what muddies it up and makes it great and good. And stunts, my goal is, like, my character gets knocked down, hits the ground.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit the ground.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually what I'm going to, it's in its purest form. I'm just going to do it and add a lot of technique to make it look fancier and maybe flashier at times.
So from like your theater days, you said it was Brimmer?
So J. David Brimmer was my mentor.
And he brought you into the world, right? And you started off with performing. What were some of the...
Like, so
what was the first thing you ever worked on?
As a stunt performer, or...
Yes, as a performer.
So as a professional stunt performer, right, I had already been assisting Brimmer for at least 5 or 6 years by that point.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't planning on getting into stunts. I was in New York City at the time, and at least my perception of stunts at that point was it was pretty closed. It was a very closed community. There weren't really a lot of fighters, to my knowledge, at that time. This is before, like, you know, awesome folks like Jimming and like. There's a lot of great folks there now that we're all on kind of periphery. And I know they were wanted in on stunts. And I was actually kind of pursuing a career at that point doing fight direction. I was working a lot at Second Stage and Off-Broadway Theater, Playwrights Horizons. Cool. So, like, notable Off-Broadway theaters. I took over a national tour of Spring Awakening the musical for J. David Brimmer. And this is all going when I was like 25, 26 years old. Yeah. Right? And then
what was the first film, though? Like,
so from that, Brimmer, one of his dearest and oldest friends is a man by the name of Richard Ryan. He's a Irish stunt coordinator, fight coordinator, brilliant fight coordinator. He was the fight coordinator on the movie Troy, nice. Dark Knight. Let's see, Sherlock Holmes, which is what he pulled me into with Robert Downey Jr.
Was that your first?
That was my first. And then he went off and did like the Vikings.
My name is Richard Ryan, and I'm the fight coordinator and assistant stunt coordinator on Vikings. As we're putting together a fight or a stunt, we'll meet with the director, we'll read the script, we'll prepare all the action for the actors.
All the seasons.
I'm kind of geeking out a little bit.
Yeah, Richard's.
Did you do the Game of Shadows too?
No, that one was filmed entirely in London. So with the first Sherlock Holmes, that had Mark Strong in it, who I doubled, the villain, Lord Blackwood.
Wait, for real?
Yeah.
So like if I go onto the interwebs and look up like, did you, like,
the IMDb me? Yes, you can do that.
No, not the IMDb, but like if I were to go find clips, right? Like, what were some of the things? You might see
me badly hide my face because I was learning to be a stunt double.
What were some of the things that you had to do?
So my thing was mostly at the end. So Sherlock Holmes was filming the majority of the exterior work in London at the time. And then I believe I don't really recall, but I'm pretty sure it was like tax incentives, the way these things always go, for just saving some money in tax incentive purposes. All the stage work, which were the build sets, the green screen, and interiors, they took to Brooklyn, the Armory stages.
Okay, so they went to New York.
They went to New York City for that. And so when the whole thing transferred over, and I kind of got the impression at the time, and I could be wrong, that it wasn't part of the original plan. Like, they shot a bunch of stuff and now we should go to New York. So I got this late phone call because they were, as always, trying to find locals and stuff. And there weren't a lot of folks who do sword fighting. And
you're what we call a swordie.
I will murder you.
I'm just kidding. Okay, yes. So for anybody
No.
No, let's go over it, right? Mike is not a fan of the word stunty, and he does swords, and so I just figured I would throw that in there because he's a swordie.
I literally just taught a class in Wing Chun and beating people up. I will take you down.
I know. Well, that's another story. You smacked me in the face. One of our first times we ever played, I was like, I don't do Wing Chun. You want to show me some stuff? And then I did a move, and I was like, oh, he's serious.
And to all my former Wing Chun students and training partners and my Sifu, they all just went, yeah, he did do that to you. That's what he does.
What's the real term? Like, it's not a, like...
it's a sword fighting. It's a skill.
A sword guy.
I was hired because of my expertise in sword fighting, because I learned it through stage combat and theater work and was performing classical theater and Shakespeare and choreographing that as much as I could.
So
at
they
the time.
so they brought you on, and when you were on Sherlock, was there any sword fighting in Sherlock? Not really, right?
At the end. So if you go back and watch
Okay.
the movie, there is this whole fight that takes place. So what people remember is the stuff I wasn't part of.
I remember the whole movie.
Okay, sure you do. But it's like the
Beep. All right, we're back. Had to take a quick dump of the card. Can you hear us?
I could smell us.
All right, we have sound. We were talking Sherlock and doubling and what you were doing. So
somewhere within that, I was doing all of those things.
you said the sword fights, and
I was hired. I was hired initially for as a sword fighter guy, right? Because that was my skill set at the time. I never performed stunts professionally, so I was tafted on Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, nice.
You know, Richard, knew me through Brimmer and had, been really kind over the years and like handed me like a lot of non-union stuff he'd heard about since people kept contacting him.
It's a good way to get that practice before you're in.
Yeah, I was like kind of on his radar. And then when the show moved to New York City unexpectedly, and he needed someone like the right size, right height, contacted me. I got approval. And then next thing I knew, I went from, doing like, Shakespeare in the Park and, off-Broadway shows to, full on $100-some-odd million film set,
Nice.
hanging with all those guys and just doing my damnedest.
What was the biggest stunt that you did on that?
The biggest stunt I did on that one? One of two. I would personally go with, I want to say it was like only like 50 or 60 foot descender.
Only 50 or 60.
But I started from a hanging position, and as it went, it whipped me around because it was supposed to look like the character at the end of the movie got hung on some chains.
Yeah.
So it would whip me around and catch me, and at the end, and I would just kind of hang there in a dead position. So that one was pretty gnarly. That was cool. That was really great.
Have you doubled him since?
No. No. He's a muppet of a man. He's so awesome.
Yeah.
I loved watching him work. He's fantastic. But yeah, I think most of his stuff has been abroad since then.
Yeah.
Since he's a British actor. I just haven't had the opportunity. But yeah.
Excellent. So from that, you kind of your career now, you are doing fight choreography and stunt coordinating, and you've done quite a few Blumhouse things, right?
Yes. So I was part of the team that did the Welcome to the Blumhouse streaming movie series.
If you do something really bad, how do you undo that?
You just need to remember who you are again.
Music is a blood sport.
It's sacrifice.
If you're not careful, bad things could happen.
Yes, technically it was under a streaming television contract thing. The short version of it was
That's the new media, right?
It was new media. It was this weird new media thing. This was like a few years ago when all that was really going down. The way I understood it was my UPMs were basically handed like a chunk of change and said, there are 8 movies we need you to make. Here's the budget for all 8. And we literally just did them back to back to back to back. It was like 1 week prep, or at least for me, it was 1 week prep. And then 5 week shoot, I want to say, and then 1 week prep, 5 week shoot. And I think we ended up doing 13 of them total, 12.
Wow.
It was a lot.
So go check those, or where can they find them? People want to know.
I believe they're mostly on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
For the most part.
Cool.
We switched to Epix on one series of them, but I think it's all on Amazon Prime now.
And you did the Purge stuff too, right?
So it was second
Purge part of that?
No. So second season of the Purge TV show.
Yeah.
Chelsea Brillin was the stunt coordinator on that, and I worked for her as the assistant and fight coordinator.
May God be with you all.
for that second season. It was just for the second season of The Purge.
Okay,
TV show.
that's cool. So Blumhouse kind of kept you working for a bit. How was it working for them? Was it pretty good?
I loved it. I mean, they really gave the opportunity to those of us who were in New Orleans at the time to let the UPMs kind of create a family. It was the same crew, just like a TV show, from movie to movie to movie. And even as we had, went on hiatus or took a break and be like, well, this is done, another movie would pop up and same UPMs grabbed the same people and pulled it together for that film. And it was really the first time in my career, outside of my stunt family, I found a group of colleagues and professionals that I felt like we're family as well. Like I would see every day. We're doing all this together. It was a very rare experience.
The camaraderie and the team building.
Camaraderie, team building, but it was just this very real sense of family on all these shows. And this was headed up by Paige Pemberton and Paul Udo, were the UPMs running all of this. We had a few others in the beginning, but the last 8 of those was just fully Paige and Paul taking over.
So, random question. With all the theater, all the acting, the performing, the stunt coordinating, the choreography, have you delved into doing your own stuff now? Like, did you take any of that and learn and go, hey, you know what? I can make movies. I can do films. Was it sort of like a on-the-job training?
I mean, I wouldn't say it was like on-the-job training on how to make films. It was an intensive experience in some ways. I mean, certainly I walked away from that, or it went away because everything went away recently, and came to believe that right now for all of us, the only true path forward is to make our own stuff in some way or form. Whether it's getting outside financiers to finance something large, or doing YouTube stuff, or just being a creative in this space with your own work, because I mean, it's not coming back the old stuff, at least right now. Maybe it will in the future. Hopefully it will in the future. But even if it does, I think to keep growing as an artist, whether it's a stunt professional or just a filmmaker in general, you have to keep pushing forward and keep trying to find ways to tell stories. I just happen to be particularly good at telling stories with violence and action. That's my forte. But it doesn't mean I can't also do comedy or romance. It's just not what got me into this industry.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be my question. Was in the sort of the lull right now that we're in, like the waters are quiet and stuff like that. Have you been doing your own projects, and what's that been like for you?
Somewhat. I helped produce and stunt coordinated a what do you call it? Not outreach. We took a bunch of money. We made a thing. We wanted to sell it. That would be called
proof of concept.
Proof of concept. That's the word I'm looking for.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's called a proof of concept.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been in entertainment for 20 years. In the last 15, at least, I've been following my head for a living. There are holes in this brain, and words escape me sometimes. Well,
and we don't have to talk about it too much if you don't want to, but what was that experience like where you were producing and doing what you do best, or what you enjoy doing, but for your own project?
Yeah, it was great. Wonderful people. I mean, I pulled in a lot of my friends and folks from my Blumhouse experience just as a favor.
Yeah.
They gave me the favor, not I was doing them a favor, just to get us back together to do something, because this was in the midst of the strike. It was we were still in the strike. No, we were outside the strike, but we're going to come back yet. God help me, which strike, right? This was actors' strike had ended. I'm trying to come up with a timeline right now. The last 2 years are truly a fucking blur.
Do you count COVID as a strike also, or is that just a strike on humanity?
COVID was like a lovely break. COVID was we were going hard. I took a vacation.
It's like Bill Burr. You're like, hey, the lanes were opening up on the highway, and I was loving it.
COVID didn't bother me as much as this, honestly. Partially because with COVID, I was interrupted mid-filming a project. So we were one of the first projects up and running back once they came up with protocols and testing.
Yeah.
So I always knew, even as things kept getting pushed back further and further, that I had something to look forward to. And if I didn't have that thing that I look forward to, if that went away, it's because all of civilization failed and I had bigger things to worry about.
Well, you said something in the Q&A that was like, you had an analogy for the faucet. The industry and the strike was like the faucet.
Well, okay, so
could you elaborate on that, because I don't want to regurgitate it wrong.
Sure. So I don't really remember how I said it last night as well, but I mean, in my mind, like COVID was a pause. We all took a breath and went, okay, we're doing these things. We got to stop because we don't know how to keep doing these things safely for a second. As long as we know it's safe, we'll keep doing it, but we'll pause because this is weird and new and scary.
Yeah.
And then we all came back, and you know, if we are going to use a faucet analogy, right? Like, you know, the water got a little bit backed up, and it was, okay, here we go, right? Because it wasn't. I mean, things slowed down, things got tougher, but I'm trying to remember. I think for me, it was only a couple of months we were off. It wasn't. I know there were other people who unfortunately didn't work for longer periods of time.
Yeah, or didn't come back.
Or didn't. There's so many stories from that, but productions did start up again. If not in full swing, they did at least starting back up again. At least maybe it was 2 or 3 months later. I'd have to look at the timelines. So it wasn't a huge, like, existential break.
Yeah.
The strike, which, you know, I'll go on the record and say, while I was pro at the time, I can now look back on and say it was a mistake, I think, honestly.
Yeah.
For a variety of reasons. The biggest being that it kind of gave all the production companies a chance to pause, take a breath, go through their finances, and then realize that maybe streaming, they're not making as much money as they thought they were. Which is why all the models have been shifting these years, more advertisements, more stuff. Everything is shifted with that. And then also now, for whichever reasons, I've heard so many different reasons, they're now sending more shows abroad. There's just less things coming in because they're trying to find out how to make them profitable. It was just such a unexpected paradigm shift. I think a lot of us went into the strike, at least hoping, you know, like, you know, better terms. You know, I wanted more transparency on residuals.
Yeah.
That apparently was never on the board, and I understand. I've heard why. But what we gained in the negotiations, I truly think that AI at that time was kind of like a red herring for people to rally them around the idea of striking. And then when the AI protections in the contract came out, everyone's like, well, okay, we did it, we won.
Yeah.
And kind of missed all this other stuff happening, or frankly, not as much gains or whatever in other things. So the strike, not only in my mind, was not productive towards getting us significantly better contracts and actual protections for our members, despite its attempt to do so. I think it was actually counterproductive to production as a whole because it gave it enough of a pause, enough time for production companies to realize that the speculative investors and income they were possibly getting towards all their new streaming stuff they were pushing through, the business model wasn't quite there yet.
Yeah, it's a little skewed. So that's the example, right? I guess is the way you said it yesterday, was like the strike was shutting the water off, and then he never really turned it back on, and now it's kind of like at a drip.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know if it's a drip or I don't know if there's like a backlog coming out. But it's definitely, I think we all kind of expected once the strike was over for things to go back to normal.
Yeah, the flow to get going again.
Yeah, but like, okay,
they made a dam.
Yeah, I truly, maybe. I truly remember like feeling at the time like, all right, here we go. Like, it's done. We've made our point. I'm not stoked about this contract, but this is what we got. Let's just get back to work. And then crickets.
Yeah.
And what was it like? You know, stay alive till 25. It was like, you know, the next thing, like,
survive till 25.
Like, I hear all the production companies and all the producers I'm talking to, things are coming away, and it hasn't manifested yet. So it feels like this grander, like, existential crisis for a lot of us who have either come up in the industry. Either folks came up in the industry at a time when it was like post-COVID and like it was just gangbusters.
Yeah.
Or they're more like, you know, middle class, like they've made a good living. They've, like myself and quite a few of my friends who have like found good careers and made a good living at this now for a minute. And then our lifestyle was sustainable if, like, you know, we're not working for like, you know, 3 to 6 months, but it starts going to a year plus. Okay, that lifestyle wasn't sustainable anymore. Maybe I'm not that.
Yeah.
But I think I am.
Yeah.
But only if the work is there. So it's a weird thing I feel like a lot of us right now are trying to come to terms with, understand, and hopefully move forward from, and whether it's creating your own projects.
Yeah,
or,
I think that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is like you said it best, is like the model is broken, right?
100%.
And I don't think that model comes back. From my own observations, what it looks like is that indie film is more lucrative and a safer investment. So you look at a movie like Talk to Me that was $4.5 million and made 92, or Godzilla minus one, right?
Yeah.
And that was 15 million and made $1 bazillion, right? You don't have to spend $500 million to make a movie and then have to make $1 billion to make it back, right? People are seeing that like, hey, indie film. And if indie film comes back, what's your thoughts on that? Because for me, I'm loving that. Like, I love working on indie films.
I love working on indie films. I hope indie films do come back. I know I'm not convinced yet that those folks who are like in various positions of power and are making the decisions and financing stuff, I'm not convinced yet they've completely jumped onto a pure indie film model.
I don't think it's them. That's my opinion. I think I think it's private investors and private equity. Like more people now that just cinephiles with money are like, hey, what do you need? $1 million? And you and then once you have first money, you know, it starts to go like that. Because
I've definitely heard about that a lot more happening lately.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was happening.
That's a fingers crossed for me.
I know. I'm not sure if it was happening as much before. I just wasn't part of that world.
Yeah.
Really, for me, with the break and the pause, that happened with the strike and whatnot. Like, I did get more involved on doing that proof of concept and trying to talk to friends of mine who were producing and taking a second from just show and eyes on the next project to understanding this model as a whole and what can I do to expand myself, grow, or create my own things.
Well, based on that, what do you feel like is the next steps for you? Like, where do you feel like you're going with all
Not
this?
sure. I'm honestly not sure. I keep describing this. This is gonna be a really depressing podcast, by the way.
Why? No, this is wonderful.
Here we go.
Listen, I'm relentlessly optimistic. So like, this is perfect for me.
I try to be optimistic. I have kids, so I'm not pessimist. I just try to be a realist because for me, no matter what, I gotta keep the family safe. With the family being my number one goal these days, I don't want to be an optimist and be smiling waiting for the job to come until I'm like dead broke in poverty and they're repossessing my house. But I also don't want to give up on this thing that's been a passion of mine and what I'm good at and what I care about, which is specifically stunts on film and television, but also just telling stories on film and television. I don't want to give up on that and be like, I'm going to be a contractor now, or I'm going to be in an office because I got to pay my bills. So finding that balance right now when things are so slow is difficult, and trying to figure out what the right way forward is.
But give me that good positive right now. Our audience wants to know what's that. Thank you for joining us today on the Good Slate Late Show. I'm your guest host, Bobby D. Today's guest was Mike Yahn. I hope you enjoyed that, and stay tuned for part 2. And we're out.